committee is about. And so monitoring and compliance are big parts of this committee. And so I just wanted to make the point that I have the background. I'm internationally recognised. I'm on the board, the international board for the Society for Ecological Restoration. And basically, I've taken the decision today also because while I have been elected the deputy chair by pulling my name out of a hat, what that means for me in terms of what input I can make is essentially I'm on standby for the whole of the 3 years, waiting for an opportunity to be at the chair. And that's why I've made the decision today. And I'm hoping that all members of the council, and I mean all members of the council, will recognise the merit of my application. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Councillor Clarkson. Councillor Dunbar-Smith, would you like to talk to your nomination?
As the mover, I'd like to say the reason I'm supporting Clyde is because he's been here before. He knows the council, he knows the place, he knows the areas, and that experience is invaluable when it comes to this sort of environmental management. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Dunbar-Smith. I was just going to ask Councillor Hodge if she'd like to make any comments.
Not really. I believe they both spoke well for themselves, so good luck to either of them. They both can do the job by the sounds of it, and yeah, that's me.
Sorry, Councillor Kneebone, did you want to make a comment? Then I'll go to you, Councillor Smith.
Could I ask a question of Councillor Graff, please? Could I ask a question of Councillor Graff, please?
Yes.
Yeah, thank you. Councillor, I just want to ask you, if you're successful in this role, will you support the pursuit of and support the adherence of good, sound, peer-reviewed science? I'm not talking about individuals who have particular view. I'm talking good, sound, peer-reviewed science by this council. So I think it's really important.
Yes, absolutely. Peer-reviewed, absolutely. Most of the science we've been looking at is not peer-reviewed, and it's basically advocacy work. So yeah, would be very keen to support peer-reviewed science.
So subsequent to that question, do you understand the term peer-reviewed science from a senior science?
Thank you, Councillor Kneebone. Yes, I do. Thank you.
Cool. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Smith.
Thank you. Not being a member of the committee, but a member of council, I'm seeking permission to ask a question. Okay. To Councillor Graff, if I may. You are on record as being a fairly strong opponent of the use of 1080. That's something that this council may or may not in the future get involved with. How, as a councillor, I would like to understand and be able to support you if you are successful. But what I would like to understand is how will you, with your predetermined view, if I can use that term, public view, should that issue come before your committee, how do you intend to deal with it if you are successful?
The same way we always have in the past, and that is to have an open and transparent presentation, all the facts, and that would happen again. If there's any evidence of 1080 being a great product to be using in the environment, I'm all ears. For example, thank you, Noel, for giving me the opportunity. For example, when I was chair of the previous Environmental Performance Committee, what we identified was when aerial operations are undertaken in this in Waikato region.
Councillor Graff, I don't want this to come back.
No, okay, I'll bring it. But Noel brought it up, and it's important because it shows what we're saying. What we identified was that people living downstream of aerial operations are not informed when poison bait is going into their water. And we also found that not only is it the days of those aerial operations, but when the poisoned carcasses are left to decompose in the waterways, as they always are, there's a contamination process, a problem there downstream, and those are the sorts of things we need to address. We need to look after the community.
Councillor Graff, the question was asked how you deal with those
and that's
issues.
Exactly how I deal with it, the same way as I dealt with it back then. We went and we discussed it with scientists, with staff, and we identified the issues and tried to address them. So that's what we'd do again.
Thank you. Are there any other comments anyone would like to make or discussion? If not, given that we do have two people nominated, I'd just like to see if we have a mover that to receive the report and that system A be used in the event of a tie, and it be resolved by lot. Do I have a move of that, Councillor Story? Do I have a seconder? Someone from within the committee? Councillor Dunbar-Smith, thank you. And so I'll now call for those who support Councillor Graf. I don't think a division has been called for this, so those who support Councillor Graf has been the...
Could I call for a division, please?
Okay, we now have a division being called.
Sorry, half off.
Oh, sorry. I had a mover and a seconder for those resolutions. All in favour? Those against? Carried. Okay, so those in favour of Councillor Graf.
Draft. Councillor Clarkson.
That was opposed.
Opposed.
Councillor Cookson.
For.
Councillor Ben Dunbar-Smith.
For.
Councillor Graf.
For.
Councillor Hodge. Councillor Hodge. One opposed and one not present.
And we now call for those in favour of Councillor Clarkson.
Councillor Clarkson. Councillor Cookson.
Against.
Councillor Ben Dunbar-Smith.
Against.
Councillor Graf.
Oppose.
Councillor Hodge. Councillor Story. Four opposed, one not present.
In which case, Councillor Graf, you have been elected as the chairperson of the Environmental Performance Committee, and I invite you to come and run the rest of the meeting.
Thanks very much, everyone. And we'll move quickly. We're running out of time, probably. So can we call nominations for Deputy Chair?
Mr. Chair, as a non-voting member, can I ask a question?
Sure.
Would it be an appropriate gesture to invite one of the most experienced environmental scientists in the room to be your deputy?
Thank
Just
you.
to ponder that question to you.
Sure.
Sir. Thank you.
Thank you. Look, we'll call for nominations first. I'd like to nominate, I'd like to nominate Katarina to involve iwi into the mix of the Environmental Performance Committee. I think that's important. I understand, that Bruce is highly qualified as well, but I believe I could work well with Katarina. And so I'd like to nominate Katarina for deputy at this stage. Is there a seconder?
I'll second that.
Any other nominations? That's right. Sure.
If someone hasn't given an apology for the meeting and she wasn't in attendance at the meeting, can, under the council's standing orders, she be
Yes, I believe that Katarina could still be voted in.
in her absence without agreeing
But I'll
to the
direct that
nomination?
down to Marley. Thanks, Marley.
Just for process.
Thank you for your question. It's an interesting situation. There is nothing in standing orders or legislation that prevents one of the members of EPC being nominated and appointed as a deputy chair, or a chair for that matter, in their absence. But the risk of doing so is that at a later date, once Kataraina or anyone else is informed of the decision of council, they may, I guess, want that to be revisited. So the risk is that we might need to revisit the decision in future.
Thanks. Sure, but okay. Any other nominations? I think we called for nominations, so they'll be closed. So I'll just wait for Noel. Is he on our committee? No, he's not. Okay, so I'll call for those in favour. And then we can address this later down the track.
Oh, I got a text from her when I told her, hey, you just got nominated, and she said, I accept. So I think we're good, in good stead.
Well, that's good call.
Yeah. I just thought that might be fast.
Well, we've got no other nominations, so we'll go ahead, put the vote, please. All those for? Great, thanks. All those against? No division required. Thank you. Carried. Would like to, no, we already had a, thanks, yeah. No, we already confirmation. Okay, look, we're going to close the meeting now, I think. Thank you, everyone. It's been a lot of fun and terror. It's a terrifying thing, and but I hope we can, we'll get through it, I hope, all of us. 10:40. Thanks, James. Thank you, Chris.
Unopposed. I'll now open the Climate Action Committee. Just as a reminder, the members are Councillor Downard, Dunbar-Smith, Graf, Kneebone, Mahuta, Nicol and Story. So just calling for any apologies. There being none. Move into confirmation of the agenda. I've got a mover for the agenda, Councillor Story, a seconder, Councillor Dunbar-Smith. All in favour? Against? Carried. Any disclosures of interest? There being none. I'll move on and ask for nominations for the chair of the Climate Action Committee. Councillor Dunbar-Smith.
I'd like to nominate Councillor Nicol.
Councillor Nicol, have got a seconder? Councillor Kneebone. Are there any other nominations? Councillor Nicol, is there any, would you like to speak?
Sure. I thank you for the nomination. I have thoroughly enjoyed the privilege of chairing the Climate Action Committee last triennium. It was the first time it was around, so we were making it up as we went at the beginning and eventually found our stride. And with the confidence of the committee and the council, I would love to take that further with all of you to look at what we can do to get our communities resilient and healthy throughout, you know, the various transitions that are coming in every part of our economy. With your help.
If I could just comment.
Yes, Councillor Dunbar-Smith, you'd like to comment?
The reason I've nominated Councillor Nicol is because she's done such a fantastic job keeping this thing alive for 3 years. I sat here at this council when New Orleans went underwater and we all went and watched this movie. And I subsequently built an off-grid house and all sorts of things, but I have seen this and it is nice to have a committee and I'm so proud of you for keeping it.
Thank you. Is there any other discussion? In which case, Councillor Nicol, you've been appointed as the chair of the Climate Action Committee. Sorry, There hasn't been a division called, so all those in favour? Against?
No.
Carried. I'll ask you, Councillor Nicholl, to come and chair the committee.
Thank you. Okay, everyone. I suppose we move straight into nominations for a deputy chairperson. Do we have any nominations?
Yep.
Stu.
I'd like to nominate Councillor Mahuta, please.
Okay. Do we have any seconder for that motion, resolution? Motion. Happy to second. Okay. Pamela Story seconds.
I'd like to nominate Bruce Clarkson. Given his impassioned speech before, I'd hate to see that knowledge not being used, and I think deputy chair would be an ideal place for that.
And he's also an alternate. Okay, so he's not a member of this committee. Okay, thank you for clarifying, everyone. Are there any other nominations? Otherwise, we will close. Right then, division hasn't been called at this point, so all those. Oh, Tipper, would you like to say something?
No, thank you for the nomination and I accept it. No mihi.
Okay, in that case, then we will take that vote. All those in favour, please say aye. Against? Carried. Oh, that's very good, and congrats to you, Tipper. Also, it would be fantastic to have you as deputy for this committee and all the skill and worldview that you bring. In that case, I will move that we close this and move on to the next. Thank you, everyone. It is 10:45.
Thank you, councillors. I think we've got 2 to go. So moving on to the. Okay, we have 5 minutes before we can commence the next meeting. We've got ahead of time. Still having fun with that. Which one? Very good. Anyone need anything? Probably. Can I? Oh, 2 minutes on there. Oh, he's already chair. Okay, well, I need to make sure he's aware of that. So it looks like we are. Councillors, I'm now going to open the Finance and Services Committee. And as a reminder, the members, sorry, if we could go back up, Dave. Councillors Hughes, Kneebone, Strange, Downard and Story. And am I correct in thinking that we also now have Councillor Cookson by virtue of his being appointed to the chair of ICM? So if we have, just moving down, there any apologies? There are no apologies? In which case we can get confirmation of agendas. Councillor Downard, was it? Seconded by Councillor Cookson. All in favour? Against? Carried. Any disclosures of interest? There being no disclosures of interest, I will then call for nominations for the chair of the Finance and Services Committee. So I've got Councillor Downard followed by Councillor Kneebone. Downard.
I'd like to nominate Councillor Hughes.
Councillor Hughes nominated by Councillor Downard. Do we have a seconder for that?
I'd like to second that. Thank you.
Councillor Cookson. Thank you. Are there any other nominations? Councillor Kneebone.
I'd nominate Councillor Strange, please.
Councillor Strange, do we have a move by Kneebone? Have we got a seconder for that?
I'll second myself, please.
Councillor Strange. Are there any further nominations? There being no further nominations, we'll close that. Councillor Hughes, would you like to speak to your nomination?
Yes. Thank you, Councillor Downard, for nominating me, putting me forward. Just by way of background, I think most of you know who I am now, but I've been a chartered accountant involved in finance for pretty much 50 years, over 50 years. Been a partner in Ernst & Young and Sables Rodway, a retired member of the Institute of Directors, obviously retired member of the Chartered Accountants Institute as well. My goal here is pretty simple, really. I've been elected by constituents to try and lay the affairs in terms of rates increases. They've been going up over a number of years now, and I'd like to think I can work with Chris and his team and our finance committee to see what we can do to think outside the square, bring fresh ideas to the table, and discuss those and see what can be done to attack the issue of increasing costs. We know it's a fact of life. Everybody's experienced it every time you go out and do any shopping. So I have sympathies with them, but I've also got sympathies with our constituents, and I want to make sure that one of the reasons I've been elected here, I'm going to deliver on. And 3 years is a very short time to turn a big ship around. I recognise that. And we've got the constraints of long-term plans. But where there's a will, there's a way, and I'd like to think I can make a difference and help use my experience to assist that process. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Hughes. Councillor Strange.
Thank you, Chair. Yeah, thank you, Councillor Kneebone, for the nomination. Yeah, I believe what I can bring to this role as chair would be a constructive culture within the committee. I've proved in the past that I can build relationships with anyone in my committees. I'm inclusive. I'm able to facilitate robust discussion. And I'm good at managing meetings. I believe what we're missing, and it's evidence today, is that diversity of thought. Good governance involves accepting there is a diverse range of views around the table, and we do live in a very diverse region. As has been said before, there are extremes of wealth and poverty within our region as well. I'm not afraid to listen to people's views and to hear those views as well. And I'm just actually grateful to be on a committee. This is the first time that I've had the opportunity to speak today on any of the discretionary committees. I'm a current member of the IOD and really believe strongly in professional development and learning all the time. My background in education means that I understand behaviour and understand people. Yeah, I'll leave it there. But yeah, thank you, Stu, for your vote of confidence.
Thank you, Councillor Strange. Councillor Downer, did you wish to speak to nomination?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Yeah, it's a no-brainer. His expertise is perfect for this job.
Thank you, Councillor Downard. Councillor Kneebone.
Thanks. Look, I'll just make the point that Angela's served one term and she's proved herself to be a very competent chair of the, I think it was called the Public Transport Committee. She hasn't mentioned her financial experience in terms of WRC business, and as we all know, the public transport is quite heavy, has a very strong correlation with keeping costs down in order that balance between providing a service and making it manageable, et cetera, and financially affordable. So I just want to make that point, but also I believe that I have no doubt that clearly Chris has got some good qualifications there, but equally I think I'll just appeal to you to consider the value add that Angela brings to this role with her experience as a councillor and her understanding and oversight of council's business. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Kneebone. Is there any other discussion?
Sorry, as
Councillor
discussion,
Dunbar-Smith.
I just wanted to raise a point that when we had the committee meeting, Appendix 3, when the chairperson's recommendations for appointment were made, Councillor Smith did go through and make some recommendations for chair, and there was agreement from himself, speaking on behalf, I believe, of others, that Chris Hughes was the logical chair for finance. Just wanted to note that.
Thank you, Councillor Dunbar-Smith. Councillor Strange, did you have another comment to make?
Oh, just division. When we get to that stage,
Call for a division. Councillor Nicol.
Yeah, just wanted to speak on that as well. I understand the experience that Councillor brings, and that is represented the fact that there's definitely some good him for position. However, I believe that Councillor Strange has a fantastic point around the freshness that a new set of eyes can bring to a topic, and also fact that, I mean, that was acknowledged earlier by Councillor Hughes, that that is important in some topics. And so it's possibly that even the combination of these things that comes together, like we've been working on today. So on Angela's other point on not being on very many of these discretionary committees, that is perhaps something that we should have a look at in the future. Should there be somewhere where her perspective is valued? Thank you for allowing me that 2 cents.
Thank you, Councillor Nicholl. Councillor Smith.
Thank you for the opportunity to address this committee, although I'm not a member of it. Councillor Dunbar-Smith has quoted me, and I accept he's quoted me correctly, but in isolation, and I'd just like to put on record what he's quoted from was a wider context where I articulated the attributes of many members around the table, and a number of those members have not achieved a role within council. So I absolutely accept and agree that Councillor Hughes has significant advantages with his experience and so on, and acknowledge the comments. But I just would like to note that my comments quoted were not quite in context with the remainder of the comments. So thank you for the opportunity to clarify.
Thank you, Councillor Smith. If there's no further comments or discussion, there's no hands up online. James, the division has been called.
So we'll go with Councillor Hughes's first. Councillor Downer.
Or.
Councillor Hughes.
Or.
Councillor Kneebone.
Against.
Councillor Strange.
Against.
Councillor Story.
For.
Councillor Cookson.
Or.
For. In support, 2 oppose. And so we'll go to Councillor Strange's nomination. Councillor Downer.
Against.
Councillor Hughes.
Against.
Councillor Kneebone.
Support.
Councillor Strange.
Support.
Councillor Story.
Against.
Councillor Cookson.
Against.
It's 2 in support, 4 oppose.
So by virtue of that voting system, Councillor Strange has been, sorry, Councillor Hughes has been, I just saw what went up in front of me here and it just put it in the wrong box. Councillor Hughes has been elected the Chairperson of Finance and Services. Apologies for that mistake. Unanimously. Thank you. So, Councillor Hughes, I'll ask you to complete the meeting.
I'd just like firstly to thank you all for your support, and you can be assured that I'll be putting the time and effort in to make sure that I can deliver on what I've stated today. Now I'd like to call for nominations for Deputy Chair of the Finance Committee.
I'd like to nominate Councillor Strange, please.
I'd like to second that. Any other nominations for Deputy? If not, I'll move that nominations be closed and that we probably congratulate Angela for a successful position. Oh. Okay, sorry, Angela. Do you accept the position? Nomination for the position?
Yes, I accept Deputy Chair.
Thank you. Okay, so we need to call for a vote on that. So could I have a show of hands? All those in favour? Thank you. Carried. No opposed. I'll just clarify, no opposition to the appointment. Thank you. Okay. Meeting for the election of the deputy is closed at 11:03. Thank you.
Thank you, Chris. The next meeting, I think, will commence at 11:10, is it? The submissions subcommittee. And just as for clarification, that will not be chaired by myself. It will be chaired by Councillor Marr, because by dint of being the chair of the Strategy and Policy Committee, he is the chair of this committee.
I'm thinking that's a no. I should turn the. Yep, righto, guys. We'll just move into our submissions subcommittee, and the members involved in that, myself as chair, Chris Hughes, Jennifer Nicol, Pamela Story, and Bruce Clarkson would be the alternative. Pam wasn't here. So the agenda, you've seen that. Yep, that's all good. Can I have a mover? Thank you. And Chris? Moving on, any items of disclosure? Am I going to quote? Oh, sorry. All those in favour? Any opposed? So moved. Sorry. Just trying to get you out of here by 11:30. Any disclosures of interest? Unregistered? I'll now call for submissions, the submissions subcommittee deputy chair nominations. I'd like to move Chris Hughes.
I'm happy to second that.
Yeah. Any other nominations? Deputy? Nominations closed. All those will go to the vote. All those in favour? Right. Any opposed? Thank you. Congratulations. I now move the report be received. Nice. All of, any objects that we move it all as one? None. So, excellent. Meeting closed. 11:14. Thank you very much.
Thanks, councillors. That's it for today. I don't know of anybody. Our chair, Pamela, did you want to make any comments? Other than that, that's the business of today closed.
I'm happy we've gotten through that and look forward to all of us working positively and productively and collaboratively as we go forward.
Okay, and just to close the day with a karakia, and again, I invite anybody who'd like to join in. Unahia, unahia, unahia mai te uru tapu nui, kia wātia, kia māma, te nākau, te tinana, te hininaro, e te ara takatu, koe rā, e rongo, e whakaaria, ake ke runga, kia tina, tina, hui ai, hui ai, taiki.